What's that? Whoa, what does this round sphere do?
Whoa, an object I can press.
Wow. Where am I? Wow.
Hello, I'm Naveed from the Ottoman Empire.
Hi, my name is James. I come from the era of great art.
Hey, I'm David. I haven't died from the plague yet, even though it's 1352.
Do you boys have any education? Because in my time, education was reserved for religious men.
Of course, but it was limited to mostly men with financial needs.
I am educated. I learned a limited study of grammar and a small sampling of theology.
Interesting. You boys don't look like where I'm from. Tell me more about your empires.
Wow.
My ruler Charlemagne instructed that in order to practice Christianity properly, education was necessary. So when I was a boy, my parents sent me to the town's monastery to receive an education. My grammar lessons began with texts from the Bible, so I'd be able to not only learn how to read, but also learn the basic elements of Christianity. I was taught math for the computing dates of holy days and festivals in the Christian calendar. Because I mastered a level of proficiency in grammar, rhetoric, and dialectic, I was able to begin my study on the Bible. My education was so knowledgeable that pagan literature was used to teach me more highly refined literature. When I am older, I aspire to be a cleric or monk because I will be able to properly transmit the Christian beliefs into proper speeches and writings. Unfortunately for my sister, she had to stay home all day and learn how to cook, clean, garden, and do needlework. Since we are the aristocracy class, she might someday learn how to read, but not right now. My great emperor Charlemagne's own daughters not only could read, but were educated in the same liberal arts as his son. That's probably why nuns could run schools. For some reason, I was never taught the history of those before me. My school never instructed me on the geography of the world around me. I never even learned the natural sciences of Earth. I guess my religion was afraid if I learned more than grammar and theology, I would go against Christianity. Nonsense. Well, that's my story.
In the Renaissance, education was limited, and me being myself, I got to have the privilege to learn. I know a lot about Latin and grammar, and I enjoy being able to brag to my sister that I get education and she doesn't because she is female. When everyone needed to know Latin and Greek to know what manuscripts said, it created a very big outburst, creating much art and philosophies. I go to school in a monastery because no real schools have been built near where I live. When we learn Latin, it is not that clear and is very hard to understand. But if you have the money and you stick with education, it gets easier. Education and the importance of education had a big burst after the development of human philosophy and had huge technological development that we had never seen before. Education to me is important and I plan on learning a lot more, but for my sister, well, she is probably still crying from when I left for school this morning.
A student's education in the Ottoman Empire began in Mutakabra Elementary School, learning the basics of reading, writing, grammar, and memorizing most of the Quran. At the age of 15, boys would transition from their primary education onto secondary one that was held in the Majasids and later to the madrasas. In the beginning, there was only one place to learn, and it was the Majasid or the local mosque. Majasids taught their students in two core subjects, the Islamic sciences and the literary sciences. The Islamic sciences were based upon the Quran, the Hadith, and the legal sciences. The literary sciences referred to grammar and the rhetoric arts that comes from Arabic. However, there was a third called the ancient sciences, containing all the knowledge of the ancient Greeks. The third was excluded from the formal classroom setting because of the philosophies of the ancient Greeks contradicted Islamic doctrine, and it was a common fear of the call for the Islamic Inquisition that Muslims would deviate from the righteous path of Allah. The students were not allowed to lodge at the site of the Majasids, so they had to find a lodging in an inn or a khan. Gradually, the Majasids and the khans were put together onto the same campus to make a madrasa. There are three types of teachers in madrasa: Muhaddith, who taught the sciences of Hadith; Nawi, who taught the literary sciences; and Makrir, who taught the Quran sciences. However, the most important teacher of the madrasa was the professor of law, and he was usually the leader of the college. The program for undergraduates was a 4-year-long course divided into 4 sections in those 4 years. Once the students completed the basic courses, the teacher chose who was worthy to continue, becoming a graduate. The goal of the graduate student was to become an exceptional debater because in Islam, debating skills are valued to discern holiness. Learning more about debating and debating questions. In order to graduate, the student must engage in a debate against the professor of law.
Come to think of it, our empires are actually very alike.
Very true, James. Our educations were all based upon religion.
And none of our sisters were able to receive as sufficient as an education as we.
And none of our religions taught us about the ancient world before us.
We sure do have a lot in common. How did we even get here?
I don't know, but I should be leaving. I have a meeting with some guy named Leonardo da Vinci because he wants to paint a portrait of my sister Mona.
Never mind of him, but you're right. I better be on my way. I have a family to feed.
No, please don't make me go back to